Sri Radhe Harimati, when you're ready, you can start, Mati.
Hare Krishna, Gauri Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me an opportunity to do the translation reading today. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 6:18, Canto 6, chapter 18, verses 57 to 67. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayudirate Tashtapraya Shivabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today's reading translation only will come from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Prescribed Duties for Mankind, Chapter 18, Diti's Vows to Kill King Indra, and verses 57 to 67. Starting from the first verse of 57, Indra served his aunt daily by bringing flowers, fruits, roots, and wood. For yagnas from the forest, he also bought kush grass, leaves, sprouts, earth, and water exactly at the proper time. Verse number 58, O King Parishad, as the hunter of a deer becomes like a deer by covering his body with deer skin and serving the deer, so Indra, although at heart the enemy of the sons of Diti, became outwardly friendly and served Diti in a faithful way. Indra's purpose was to cheat Diti as soon as he could, find some fault in the way she discharged the vows of the ritualistic ceremony. However, he wanted to be undetected and thereby he served her very carefully. Text 59. O master of the entire world, when Indra could find no faults, he thought, how will there be good fortune for me? Thus he was full of deep anxiety. Text 60. Having grown weak and thin because of strictly following the principles of the Voditi, once unfortunately neglected to wash her mouth, hands, and feet after eating and went to sleep during the evening twilight. Text 61. Finding this fault, Indra, who has all the mystic powers, the yoga siddhis such as anima and lagima, entered Diti's womb while she was unconscious, being fast asleep. Text 62. After entering Diti's womb, Indra, with the help of his thunderbolt, cut into 7 pieces her embryo, which appeared like glowing gold in 7 places. 7 different living beings began crying. Indra told them, do not cry, and then he cut each of them into 7 pieces again. Text 63. O king, being very much aggrieved, they pleaded to Indra with folded hands, saying, Dear Indra, we are the Marutas, your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us? Text 64. When Indra saw that actually they were his devoted followers, he said to them, if you are all my brothers, you have nothing more to fear from me. Text 65. Shukdev Goswami said, my dear King Parishad, you were burned by the Brahmastra of Ashwadhama, but when Lord Krishna entered the womb of your mother, you were saved. Similarly, although the one embryo was cut into 49 pieces by the thunderbolt of Indra, they were all saved by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The last text of the day for reading today, text 66 to 67. If one worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original person, even once, he receives the benefit of being promoted to the spiritual world and possessing the same bodily features as Vishnu. Diti worshipped Lord Vishnu for almost 1 year, adhering to a great vow. Because of such strength in spiritual life, the 49 Marutas were born. How then is it wonderful that the Marutas, although born from the womb of Diti, became equal to the demigods by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, now please hear a brief overview from SundarAnanda Das Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we'll offer brief praise and continue. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishwabadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Destarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we're in the wonderful section about the store pastime wherein Diti and Indra are interacting with each other. That is section. I'll briefly go over the brief context and then we can continue beyond that also with the today's section. So basically, in the overall sixth canto where we are in the beginning of sixth canto, there's a description of the dynasty of Swayambhu Manu. Rather, the dynasty of Swayambhu Manu was completed in the previous cantos. Now, Daksha and Daksha's children and their descendants were being described. In the beginning of about up to sixth chapter of this canto, the description was about how Daksha had 60 daughters and how he got them married to different sages like that. And then he was describing, Sukadeva Goswami was describing the descendants of Aditi, one of his wives of Daksha, who was giving birth to demigods. And then when the discussion came up to one of the sons by name Tvashta, then uh, the whole discussion went to Vishwarupa, how Indra killed his pujari, and then all those discussion came, and that led to Chitraketu Maharaj, and later on who is born as Vritrasura. All that pastime went away, and then finally Sukadeva Goswami is returning to describe the further descendants of Aditi and Diti. So if you notice in the previous chapters, if it is the description of Aditi's other sons, and then finally he came to Diti. Then when he's describing about the descendants of Diti, that time he described how Diti's sons normally are called Daityas, that means people of demonic nature. But in this case, Diti's sons were Maruts and they became demigods, like that he described. Then Parikshit Maharaj asked the question, how come, how did that happen that Maruts who were sons of Diti who were supposed to be demonic in nature, how come they became demigods? Can you please elaborate? Like that, Parikshit Maharaj asked the question. That is the context in which Sukadeva Goswami is describing the past time further. Then we came to know how Diti was wanting to avenge the death of her sons, Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. So thinking that Indra was the cause for the death of her children, because only because of Indra, Lord Vishnu killed her sons, like that she was saying. So obviously, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about three different reasons or different important essences of this pastime he describes. One of them is that uh, Diti was not able to recognize her own faults, but she was recognizing others' faults. In this case, she was trying to find fault with Indra, like that. So, like that, there's one thing we see. And then coming further, after Indra, after she desired like that, what did she decide? Interestingly, she decides that, oh, I cannot do it myself. I cannot find somebody to kill Indra. I cannot even find a son to kill Indra myself by my own capacity. I need to approach my superior. She approached her husband, which is Kashyap Muni. Interestingly, Kashyap Muni had the power to give whatever she needs. So she asked him, I want to find a son who will kill Indra, like that. And then interestingly, Kashyap Muni, even though he was very learned, he had to yield to her desire, a request. uh, that he wants a son who can kill Indra. But Kashyap Muni was intelligent enough. He he did not want to give away his word because saintly persons always maintain truthfulness. In fact, there is a section we'll see on next week also in the rest of the chapter. Truthfulness is important. So, saintly persons don't live on truthfulness, number one. So, he didn't want to depart from the truth. However, he also wanted to not be the instrument in killing Indra. So, what did he do? He told her to, he told her a Pumshavana Vrata, which is a Vrata with following the Vaishnava regulations, rules and regulations. So, that way, he gave the method to worship Lakshmi Narayan. So by worshipping Lakshmi Narayan to this particular Vrata, the details of Vrata will be given in the next chapter. More details will be given. But the essential principle is somehow engaging her in worship of Lord Vishnu. That is the principle. And by for worshipping Lord Vishnu, he gave all the rules and regulations of a Vaishnava. So that will make her a Vaishnavi, like that. That is the intent which he gave the Vrata. So now we heard until yesterday that she started performing that Vrata. Let me see. Yeah, he started performing the Vrata. Yesterday's instructions we saw. And then she already became pregnant also. And then Indra, uh, understanding that Diti is going through this vow, he came to her in disguise as in disguise of being her servant, like that. He wanted to serve her through the while doing the Vrata, which she was doing in an ashrama as described. So, with the ill motivation, Indra came to her and then he started serving her faithfully, taking care of all her needs in respect to fulfilling her vows for the vrata, like that. Then, but his intention was, let me see, we are in 57th verse, right? Okay, 57th verse. Now, how did he serve is describing 57th verse. He brought flowers, fruits, roots, and wood for sacrifices, yagnas from the forest, it seems. And he also bought kusha grass, leaves, sprouts, earth, and water exactly at the proper time. That is, whenever she needs it, she is bringing it properly, like a nice servant. Indra served like that. Going to 56, text number 58, there is an analogy given. A hunter sometimes may cover himself as if looking like a deer in order to, by covering himself with deer skin, in order to kill the deer or catch the deer. So, similarly, Indra, even though at the heart he became enemy of the sons of Diti, but outwardly he was friendly and also is in serving Diti in a faithful way. So, so Indra's what is Indra's purpose that is described in this verse again? Indra's purpose was so that he can cheat Diti as soon as he can find some fault that she does in the vrata as described. So, uh, the acharyas point out one thing here. Indra's expectation is incorrect in this scenario. Why is that expectation incorrect? Because Diti is worshipping Lord Vishnu. So whenever somebody is worshipping any of the Vishnu Tattva deities, including Lord Krishna, then what happens is just by the process of devotion service, by glorifying Krishna, by remembering Krishna, like that, by Kirtanam and Smaranam processes, are the nine processes of devotion service, that will nullify all the faults that are done in the practice also. That is the beauty of bhakti, unlike the other paths. Other paths like karma kanda or jnana yoga, these paths, we need to be qualified to certain level and we need to not perform any faults to get the proper result at the end of that practice. We heard even in this canto also about how when the yagna was done and some pronunciation mistake happened and then Vritrasura was born, was instead of killing Indra, was killed by Indra, like that we heard, right? That's one example of how karma kanda practices need to be done perfectly. But unlike those, bhakti is amazing in the sense that even if you're doing with faults, still we'll get the benefit of it. Of course, not the ultimate, not the best benefit we cannot get just because of doing faults. However, bhakti itself has the potency to purify ourselves of faults. So Indra did not recognize that aspect of bhakti. So he was still waiting for that opportunity like that. That's what is described here. So now this should give us hope and inspiration to practice bhakti. Because sometimes we may think, oh my God, when will I reach the back to Godhead? It seems so difficult to do it. We don't know when it will happen. Will it really happen? Uh, I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I don't have strength to do this. I don't have ability to do this. How will I achieve success? Sometimes we may get that doubts like that. When we hear these things, then we should take inspiration that bhakti will purify us. Bhakti will purify us not only of our bad qualities that are obstructing us right now, bhakti will also give us strength to grow in bhakti also. That means all the weaknesses that we may have, bhakti will address them also. That is the beauty of practice of bhakti and mercy of Krishna that comes through bhakti practice. So now text number 59. So when Indra did not find faults for a long time, even though he's serving and waiting for opportunity. So he was considering, how will good fortune come to me? Like that he was considering. And then he is feeling deep anxiety. So this is also important for us to note. Why is chintam is the word is used in the verse? When do you feel anxiety? In the third canto also is described that basically anxiety is the result of material attachment. That means if we are in bodily, if I'm in bodily conception of life and then I'm attached to material things, that means either my body to be nice or my things related to my body, people and things related to body should be nice, and how I can get enjoyment through this material body. If my conception is only on conception is based on the body, then that results in anxiety. So in this situation, Indra is thinking about how the enemy, if Diti is successful in her vow, how she might get a son who is the enemy of me and who will kill my body like that. So naturally, anxiety comes because of that, such material attachment like that. So whenever the lesson for us is, whenever in our life we are feeling lot of fear, lot of anxiety, I don't know what will happen, I don't know what will happen like that, then we need to see what kind of bodily conception or what kind of material attachment is leading to this, we can understand by ourselves. Then we can switch from there to spiritual absorption that will take away from material anxieties like that. So that's another lesson we can learn from here. That how source of anxiety is material attachment and solution is spiritual absorption and staying in spiritual conception. So we can learn from Guru Sadhu Shastra how to stay in spiritual conception in different circumstances. That is one part of our training. So while we're going through life, when we're going through something, then we can learn to see, am I thinking myself as a servant of Krishna in this situation? Or am I thinking I'm the enjoyer in this situation? Like that, we can evaluate. Then we'll get the answer ourselves. Or we can also consult Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Going to the next verse. While while Indra is in anxiety like this, one day is described that Diti made a mistake finally. What is the mistake here described? That after eating, uh, she did not wash her mouth, hands, and feet, it seems. And then she went to sleep in the evening twilight. So there are basically two mistakes sounds like. One is she didn't follow the principles of cleanliness in terms of cleaning her body after eating. Second is she is sleeping at the wrong time also. So now When Indra found this fault, then he used his mystic powers, specifically Anima Siddhi is described. Anima Siddhi means the Siddhi that allows a yogi to become smaller than the smallest, like that. So that Siddhi he used. In the purport is described, Indra had all these yoga Siddhi systems. Yoga Siddhis, like 8 kinds of yogi perfections are achieved by Ashtanga yogis. So he had those Siddhi systems. So he uses that Siddhi to enter into the Diti's womb, it seems, when she was sleeping. So now, what happened after that? After entering Diti's womb, we're now in 62nd verse. Indra used his thunderbolt weapon. Thunderbolt weapon is supposed to be very, very powerful because Lord Vishnu only gave it. Remember in the last section of the past time when he was able to, when he was fighting with Rudrasura, based on thunderbolt weapon only, finally he got the victory. Of course, at least externally. Internally, we heard from Acharyas that Chitraketu are now in Vritrasura form, left the body in absorption in Samadhi, we heard also. So in this case, he used the thunderbolt weapon to cut the embryo into 7 pieces, it is described. So interestingly, that's seven, when they cut the embryo to 7 pieces, they became 7 children and then they started crying. So then Indra said, told them, don't cry in one side, one side. But on the side, he cut them all the 7 again into another 7 pieces each. So total 49 it became. So in the purport, Sri Prabhupada is quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives 3 different possibilities of how one jiva in the womb as one body, how it became 49 jivas. He gives 3 different explanations. One explanation he gives is like the yogic siddhis we discussed, sometimes yogi can expand from as one soul into several different bodies. Number one, that is one possibility Vishnu Chakravarti gives in his commentary. Second possibility he gives is that knowing that in the future this is going to happen, 49 souls have already taken shelter in that womb already. And then when the Indra cut them as 49, they all took shelter into each of the body like that, each of the body part that Indra cut like that. That is the second explanation Vishnu Chakravarti gives. And the third explanation of Vishnu Chakravarti, which is what Srila Prabhupada is using it in the purport, is that initially it was one soul, but when the body of the soul was cut, soul cannot be cut. We already know from Bhagavad already. When the body of the soul was cut in the womb by Indra with the thunderbolt, then 48 other pieces came, right? So at that time, 48 souls entered those each of the 48 bodies, it seems. So the example Prabhupada is giving is many of you might know how plants are grafted and another plant will come out of it. Like I seen from my experience, I seen how rose plants are planted like that. So you cut a branch of the rose plant and then plant it again in the ground, and then that becomes another rose plant like that. So like that, Prabhupada is giving that example. How some plants you can cut them and make it another plant altogether. Similarly, here also uh, other living entities enter the new bodies that are made by the cutting of Indra, like that is described. So one thing to note is nothing is impossible for Supreme Lord. So Supreme Lord, if we can make this arrangement happen with plants where the soul enters the new branch of the plant, cut branch of the plant to make it a tree, he can as well help in this scenario also. So it's not something that is unbelievable and not not possible, not impossible for Supreme Lord like that. Going to 63rd verse. So now the babies who were got cut, they said, "Oh Indra," uh, they with folded hands they pleaded with him. Dear Indra, we are Maruts, your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us like that? So from here we see Generally, when we are in focused on material attachment, material conception of life, then we only care about our enjoyment. We don't care what happens to others. If others are coming in our way of enjoyment, then we take care of them like that. Remember in the 10th canto or the Krishna book, uh, when the Kamsa's pastime, Krishna's appearance pastime is being described, that time Kamsa was so nice to Devaki and Vasudeva before the Akashavani spoke. But right after Akashavani spoke, he understood, oh, there's some danger from me from these guys. Let me kill her like that. He was ready to kill like that. In that section also, Sri Prabhupada points out in the purports that just because something is obstructing my sense enjoyment, people who are focused on sense enjoyment can go to any extent. So they're not dependable because they're only wanting their sense enjoyment. For that, they can do anything. One moment they can be like this, one moment they can be like this, like that Prabhupada describes. So similarly, here Indra was ready to kill, even though they are his cousin brothers only. Because Indra is the brother. How is he brother? Because Kashyap Muni has Diti and Aditi along with other wives also. I believe Daksha gave like 17 daughters in marriage to Kashyap Muni. So Indra was the born from Aditi. Aditi's sons are called Adityas, demigods are there. Whereas these are born to Diti. So they're brothers only. So danger among family members also is possible in this age. Now, going to the next verse, 64th verse. Yeah. Then Indra understood, oh, these guys are not trying to be my enemies. They're trying to be my followers. So he says, if you are all my brothers, you have nothing more to fear from me. So this is again showing materialistic mentality that came over Indra at this particular time, wherein materialistic mentality we also hear in seventh canto coming up that is calculating, is he my enemy? Is he a friend? Oh, his friend, I will accept him nicely. He is my enemy, I will treat him badly. Like that. That is a materialistic mindset. So Indra was treating them like that. That's what is described here. That's why he is seeing them like that. Going to the next verse, 65th verse, uh, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, oh, don't think this is amazing that from one soul was there originally, 49 living beings came now. Don't think it's amazing. You remember when you were in the womb of your mother Uttara, you were actually burned by Brahmastra. But then Krishna actually protected you by giving you a new body. So if Krishna can do that for you in the womb, he can do this also. You can believe that. Like that, Sukadeva Goswami is describing to Parishad Maharaj. So it's described. So in this verse, the key point is they were all saved. Maruts were all saved by the mercy of Supreme Lord Krishna. So in this context, we can understand Supreme Lord protects. If Krishna, there is a common saying, "Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake ke." That means if Krishna wants to kill, nobody can save us. If Krishna wants to save us, nobody can kill us like that. So similarly, here by Krishna's mercy, they got saved. So similarly, the another lesson for us from this section for us is that we should be focused on doing our endeavor, doing our duty, doing our sadhana nicely. Then Krishna is in charge of the results. We don't need to worry about Krishna, what results will Krishna give or not like that. We can have faith that Krishna will give the right result that is beneficial to us. With that understanding, we do our duty and service nicely. And what are we asking for Krishna primarily? Not I want to be more happy and more sad like that, or remove the sadness like that, but we're asking service to Krishna. We're asking a right to service to serve Krishna. That's our right we have, wanting to serve Krishna, because our constitutional position. So with that mood, we'll continue in our services. Going to the last verse, which is 6.6 and 6.7 together. So this is starting to describe the glories of devotion service to Supreme Lord. Even if somebody worships Supreme Lord once, he may get Sarupya Mukti also, like that. That means he get the same body like Krishna, like that. That is the one glory is described in the purport, in the verse itself. Another glory described is because Diti worshipped Vishnu for almost 1 year with sincere rules and regulations. So, because of strength in spiritual life, 49 Maruts were born. So, this is addressing the question in the beginning of the chapter by Parishit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. What was the question? How come these Maruts were born who were demigods to Diti, who is normally mother of demons? How did they get from demonic quality to demigod qualities, divine qualities? How is that possible? So the answer is because Diti worshipped Supreme Lord Vishnu, nothing is impossible. Number one. Number two, she got purified, and because of her getting purified, the children were also pure. So, if we are if we focus on purity, our children can also become pure. Even that is applies to before children are born and after children are born also. Because after children are born, if we purify ourselves and if we are happy in practicing in Krishna consciousness, then our children will see that practical example and they will also want to practice Krishna consciousness. So, as long as we focus on our purification, at the same time trying our best to give opportunities to our children to practice devotion service, opportunities for our children to get association of devotees, opportunities for our children to serve devotees, then we can be assured they will also take up devotion service by seeing our example and by the mercy of devotees. Through that, they will also take up devotion service. Another aspect we can learn from this verse is that Diti, even though she started with a bad motivation, bad intention, that she wants the son to kill Indra, because of performing bhakti, she got purified of that motivation, of that ill motivation. And also, other aspect we can see is that Krishna is so merciful. Even though she had a bad intention, but because she did a good action of performing, engaging in devotion service, Krishna purified her of her impurities that are there in the heart. That is the reason, even when dealing with devotees, we should be uh, appreciative of anybody who is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra even once. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one time said, anybody who chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra once is a devotee. So we should appreciate that they will get purified over time. They right now they may be behaving badly towards me. Right now they have so many bad qualities. But we should understand that bhakti will purify them like that. And this also verse gives a great hope for us. Even though we might have so many weaknesses, so many impurities, but still we'll get purified like that. And then, um, yeah, and our Grace Urmila Mataji was sharing something from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He says it seems it is extremely rare that if someone takes initiation, Diksha, and then practices Bhakti, that he will not achieve perfection like that. That means once you take initiation of spiritual master and follow the instructions of spiritual master, it is guaranteed that will become perfected in our getting to the pure devotion service of Krishna. So for Maruts to become devotees from potential demonic mentality is not a surprise. So that is possible, and glories of devotion service is there like that. In the next section also we'll hear a lot of glories of devotion service coming up in next session, and also we'll hear how Indra also got purified. We'll hear. So we'll pause here. श्रीमद् गौतम की जय, श्रील प्रपादि की जय, मंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.